Just
For fun
santai-santai. Not that good. Biasa je. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Irfan Hakimi and welcome to Palazzo Show. As the host, and we are having a guest here, Jonathan. Okay,
Hello.
let me introduce you. Let Jonathan to introduce himself. Okay, Jonathan.
Hello, I'm Jonathan. What would you like me to say about myself? I've been
What are your roles in the what are your job? Where are you
okay.
from? Yeah.
So I'm a property content creator, a property guru, and also a property agent.
Okay.
Basically, I'm deep in the property industry.
Okay. So how long have you been in this property industry?
I've been an agent for nearly 9 years, 8-9 years. Right after I finished my law degree, then I came back to Malaysia. While doing my bar exam, then I started practicing like freelance agent, or I took my rent license, and then I started practicing renting out houses to just get a feel for the industry.
Okay. So after law degree, where do you study your law degree?
I went to UK, Bristol.
Oh.
Yeah. Went all the way to UK, come back and then do real estate, right?
Yeah.
Back when I was second year in law school,
Yeah.
I already didn't like the legal profession.
I see.
Yeah, because they had this law saying that you need to stick to one profession all the way through.
Yeah.
But I always have this businessman thinking that if I want to expand, I need to venture into multiple business.
Yeah.
So having to only stick to legal profession is like,
Yeah. And it's boring.
yes, it's very boring, and a lot of paperwork, very meticulous work, a lot of looking through very different terms and
A lot of
conditions.
reading, a lot of documentation, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong, reading is very good. I like reading, but the amount of I need to vet through all the terms and conditions, that was so tiring.
Yeah, just like insurance, the bylaws,
Yeah.
stuff to read.
Yes. It's
So,
exhausting.
what did your family talk to you? How did your family take when suddenly after you graduate from Bristol law degree, you didn't even want to pursue law,
Law.
legal profession.
My mom didn't take it very well. Even
Alright.
now, sometimes my mom and my grandpa, they both didn't take it very well. Sometimes they still poke at me and say whether I want to go back to the legal profession. Especially my dad's practicing law, so sometimes they are teasing at come back, and then open the father-son law firm and all that kind of thing. My dad, on the other hand, he took it very differently. He took it like, okay, this is one profession that allows you to talk to a lot of people, trains your sales skills. So it's a profession that puts you in a place to learn your most uncomfortable, what people are mostly uncomfortable with. So it's a very good career. So
Actually, property industry has a lot of things to do with law. There's a lot of law revolves around property, and that's why how Ray Kroc can take away McDonald's from the founder itself, right?
You're right. Property and law are very hand in
Cannot be
hand.
separated, right?
It's very hard to separate, especially in Malaysia where people love to buy property. It's like one of our dream. Every Malaysian want to buy one property at least. That also helped my dad support my career, and then my family's been investing in properties for like donkey years. I'm basically fourth gen investor. Yeah, so I seen my first rental deal at the age of around 5 or 6 years old. By 8 years old, I already know how to manage a land, like replant, oil palm and everything. I already know how to do that by 7-8 years old. And then I seen my first sales transaction at 11-12 years old. So that's how exposed I am to the property industry. Yeah,
So young.
Yes,
It's
very
like
young.
prodigy.
Yes. So when I was like 5, 6 years old, my grandpa would always bring me into one of our family land estate, the oil palm estate. And then he would always teach me like, you must talk to this person, you must negotiate with this person, you must manage this worker how and all that kind of thing. So I kind of know my way around the property industry at a very young age already. So when it come to like time to enter the industry, it wasn't a very hard decision because I kind of already know roughly how the inside and out looks like. It's just learning how to sell. That was the biggest hurdle lah.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's why becoming a guru wasn't hard because I already know a lot of the stuff.
Understand. So you say that you have been a property guru or property agent for like 9 years and still counting, right? So have you started your own investment or or you just inherit
Have I bought any properties
Yeah,
before? Yeah, okay. My own house, of course, that's the one I own. And then my family, we have shops in Johor. We have one in Bangsa South also.
Oh, Bangsa South lah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bangsa
money
South.
making ah.
Bangsa South is one of the best investments.
Slot machine though.
Not entirely. You need to be very careful with which one you buy there. Okay, and then now most of our assets, I think, is agricultural land.
I see. So most of the majority of your investment, your family investment, land, right?
Agricultural land, plant
Agricultural
stuff.
land,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think I think the biggest reason why anyone would ask me this question is, what's the best property to hold? I think the best type of property to hold, if you do your homework well, is a shop lot.
Shop lot.
We own about 3-4 shop lots in Johor because my family is all based in Johor.
I see.
And they are the ones that use the most stable and rising income. I mean, let's not talk about selling because at the end of the day, the goal of a property is to pass on to your children.
Yeah.
So compared to other real estate types, shop lots are the lowest maintenance. You don't need to furnish for your tenant. You don't need to.
Usually your tenants do everything, right?
Yeah, your tenant really do everything, and then you get to increase the rent based on how well his business is doing. And then if you see like there's a lot of traffic around there, you can increase the rent, and if he's not doing well, you can put him another business will come in. So if you do your homework well, study the location, a lot of people passing by and all that, shop lot is the best. The same amount of homework you do to study for residential is the exact same amount that you do to study.
I read about shop lot. Some of the shop lot, they can actually raise the rent 4 times more than the installment itself. Like if you buy a shop lot like 200k, and every month you have to pay like 1.2, maybe like that. You can actually ask the tenant to pay the rent more than 5k.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Yes.
And the tenant will willingly okay.
Yeah. After all, if he's generating that amount of income that is like 100 times more than your rent, is not much of a problem. He wants to just keep staying there because different from a family. Family are more mobile. When the children leave for university and something, then the parents will feel like, oh, I can actually move to a smaller place, or I can actually move to a different township. I can even probably move to another state. Then it becomes unstable. But a business is different. If I had a business in Puchong for 10 years, then you ask me to lift it up and go to Mont Kiara, I have a whole new demography to study, a whole new clientele to study. My old clients will be cursing the hell out of me.
And for shop lot, the contracts are actually longer than residential, is it?
Way longer. It's easily 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 all the way.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. It rarely is a 1-year contract.
Crazy. This is like a shop lot baron lah.
I'm not one yet. I'm more. Yeah, our family, we've been looking at agricultural for the longest time because it's like the safest lah so far.
Usually when we talk about risk, between several types of property investment. The land, usually people just buy it and leave it. Like they don't have to maintain the land. Some of like my father, he has several lands, and he didn't do anything about it. And the lands and the value of the land
Still go up.
go up.
Because when you build something, that's when your land start to charge you more tax, your cukai, pintu and all that come in.
Yeah.
But if your land is just empty,
Yeah.
then I think it's just cukai tanah only. And that's not much, it's like less than $100.
Yeah, especially for land, right?
Yeah. It's really cheap. And then if you do agricultural on it, like it's only just the cukai tanah again, and then the rest is all just business profit on how much you sell for your oil palm or your chilies and all that. So it's actually very, very stable income.
Land can be flexible, right? Like you can turn the land into a commercial land into
For a bit of money you can
actually,
convert it to anything also.
Yeah. So I want to ask you several things about the property investment lah. Based on your experience, how many buyers or investors are actually gaining profits in the industry? Because most of the time, I see most of the buyers are actually having loss instead of profits.
From my experience in being in this industry for 9 years, I think 8
Okay, let's
years.
not talk about the 9 years. Let's talk about your generational experience. Yeah.
If it's my parents' generation, I've never heard of them making a loss in property investment. It's more of our generation now. You start to hear a lot of this problem turning up. Like when I was still in university, the concept of property investment being able to lose money is completely foreign. Like the only thing that we would think lose money is you buy a property from a developer and the developer doesn't finish the house. Then you are losing money. But now in this modern time, it's very new to hear that you can buy a property that is 30, 40 times above the market value. So I think that's the main reason why people nowadays lose money in property. It's a lot got to do with the mindset. And onto your question, you were asking about how do a lot of people make money in the property industry now? I think less than 10% make money in the property industry.
Most of them are old people, or most of them are young people?
Majority of them are above 40, 50.
Above 40, 50, lose money on property.
We make money in property.
Make money on property.
Yeah.
So the ones that lose money on property usually 40 and below.
Yeah. And I believe it's largely due to a mindset problem, a concept that they have completely got wrong from the property industry.
Okay, so let's talk about mindset. What are the common mistakes when you are when developing a mindset for property investment?
I think the first biggest problem that Malaysian buyers and probably Singaporeans or whoever comes to Malaysia and buy have is thinking that you can enter this industry with zero money down. I think that's the biggest lie that anyone has ever said of this industry.
Yeah, I heard one quote from Iman Ghazi. He said that getting into property is a rich man's game. It's not a poor people's game.
Correct.
So if you go into property without any holding power or any kind of resources, will go to bankruptcy faster than you can imagine.
I don't think it will lead you to bankruptcy because end of the day you can still choose to stay in the house.
Okay.
But his point I think is if you go into property with the wrong mindset, you can end up with a lot of asset class that doesn't generate one bit of return at all or takes a long time to generate return. And I think that the starting point is because most people are thinking of coming into this industry without putting a single cent down but expecting the property to keep giving money. One of the biggest problem I hear of is rental cover installment and costs. I think that's the biggest lie the market has ever told.
Not
Where-
all rentals can cover the installment, the quick assessment.
Yeah. In fact, I think a safer concept is to actually go by your rental only cover the interest and then you are actually okay. You shouldn't be aiming for rental cover the entire installment. Then that would be unsafe because then you'll be entering into a market that is based on, I don't know how to put this word. It's like inflation. Yeah, because you are actually coming to own something without having a single cent down. So even if it's good for you, everyone will be thinking about the same thing. So they create this like bubble where I can keep coming to buy something of such a big ticketing item, make a lot of money, and end of the day have like 2-3 times profit or have a house free to myself. I think that's the biggest misconception. There are so many things that can happen that will make this whole free rent, free installment thing just not work out. Like your tenant could suddenly decide not to pay, or the bank could raise interest rates, or your salary could suddenly get your tenant's salary could suddenly get deducted. He could lose his job, or your unit could be vacant. There are so many things happening. But now buyers are coming into the market going along this assumption that as long as I can get it rented out, my rental will always cover the installment. Yeah, I think this is the biggest problem.
Because most of the property that I see right now that are good for investment, the property that values 500k to 1 million. Yeah, and 500k to 1 million, usually the installment are around 2,000 and above.
Yeah, correct.
So for them to pay 3,000 for rental, most of the tenants cannot pay 3,000 for rental.
Yeah.
So what our current gameplay, what I see is they rent per head, and they rent to expats.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one expat's like 600. So like 5 expat in one house can cover 3,000.
Or like what happens in Bangsa South or Mont Kiara, where they only target for an expat whose monthly income hits 10,000 or 20,000 a month, and then they get the unit to rent for about 4,000, 5,000 for the whole unit. Yeah, they also got this. I think, yeah, that's the problem with the current market now. Everyone is advertising that this particular property can rent to an expat market, even though that expat market might not exist in that area.
What if the expats, all the expats already have a home?
Yeah.
Can that become one of the risk?
It can also become a risk, like that area might suddenly become a non-expat area also. Like we saw it in Ampang, for example, like when I think when Mont Kiara was up and coming, Ampang was the original expat spot for Koreans and Japanese.
And suddenly when Mont Kiara have a lot of property,
Yeah, when it hit off, suddenly the Koreans all shifted down there to Mont Kiara, to Desa Park City, and some remain in KLCC, and suddenly you see Ampang is quiet, not so many Korean tenants as last time. Yeah, we also have this kind of problems. I think one of my biggest like this triggers me very often.
Okay.
Is when someone come and tell me, or when any of the gurus out there or agents go and say that, oh, property is a no-brainer again. You buy, and then after that you leave it there for 10 years, you don't do anything, it'll rise up in price. I don't believe in that. That's like buying gold. If that's what you're looking for, you should be buying gold, buying silver. But property is something that can depreciate if you don't take care of it. Like if the property starts to age, the wall starts to get damaged, the window starts to become deteriorated. If you don't do anything about it,
yeah, even though the market value is 1 million,
yeah, any buyer is going to negotiate hard against you, and then that's where you get depreciation and all that, and and maintaining that property costs money, and that's where I think what your original guru said, property is a rich man game.
Yeah. So is it hard to sell property right now? Because I see some of them are lining up buying properties, even though it's 900k and above, but they are lining up. But most of the people in the social media say that it's hard to buy property right now. So is it hard to buy a property right now, or is it just how do you describe this?
I think it's a mixture of information.
Okay.
The property that these people on social media are looking to buy most likely might not be within their affordable range, which we will probably touch on that later.
Okay.
And like there are a lot of factors affecting how to get financing for a property, and then we go on to property. Why some properties looks like they're doing very well and some don't. It has to do with a cycle. Like everyone knows that the property market has a cycle, has an up cycle and a down cycle, but not many people know that within Malaysia itself we have like 14 states, is it?
Yeah, 14 states.
14 states. I don't want to get that next wrong. That would be so embarrassing. You can help me edit that. Yeah, we have 14 states. So every 14 states has its own up and down cycle. Like we were talking about this just now, and I think our viewers will find it surprising to know that Perak and
Kedah and the northern part of Malaysia
has one of the highest transacted volumes. Like they can compete against the likes of Johor.
Yeah, and even the Klang Valley and the central region cannot beat the transaction with.
That is not right. You better edit that up.
Okay but what I know is the northern region of Malaysia actually have the highest transaction for the 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Like Klang Valley for 2022 only contributed around 30% of the entire Malaysia's transaction volume. Perak contributed around 13% of Malaysia's annual property GDP. That's really high.
Yeah, for one state.
Yeah, for one state alone. Negeri Sembilan also contributed like in, I think on average Malaysia sells around few 100,000 residential properties a year. And imagine Perak contributes at least 20,000 per annum. That's 10%.
20,000 per annum. 20,000 real estates.
Yeah. The whole Malaysia, they per annum is roughly 200 to 300,000 residential properties sold per year, and Perak around 20,000 per annum, and Negeri Sembilan also to around 20,000 per annum. So that's quite a big volume from both states.
That's a lot.
Yeah, which is definitely a surprise. Everyone's thinking like, oh, probably 80-90% will come from KL, and then the rest Penang and Johor, and then the other states are like one property a year.
Yeah, usually when we talk about property buying or transaction, people will say, oh, KL easy to sell lah, or easy to buy lah.
Correct.
But then when we read the statistics, it's actually kind of mind-blowing when KL is not the highest transaction.
Yes, that's the surprising thing. You need to take KL and Selangor together, then we get to see the big picture.
I see. Because Selangor is actually different part of central region, because some of the Selangor is actually a village.
Yes.
Yeah.
When some of them is like a city like KL and some is like
rural area lah.
Yes, correct.
So I want to ask you about this property buyer lah. I know there are a lot of ready buyers, and there are a lot of, but not all of them are matured buyers. Like ready buyers, they have money, their income are eligible enough to get a property loan, but then they are not the matured buyers. They don't have enough savings. They just jump into the property game because they know they have money. That's all.
We were talking about this earlier. We had a common friend who went and buy a Soho. I forgot where also. Yeah, he went about the concept of I can just buy a property and then live it there and then you'll definitely earn money. Yeah, we both know that that's not right. So I think that mentality is the root of why this problem is. They are thinking, I can buy a property, leave it there. 10 years, 20 years later, I can sell it for 3-4 times the value, and then I'll become very rich. So I think what you mean by not mature is they didn't financially plan what happens after the property keys last reach my hand. I need to furnish the property, and now I don't have money for furnishing the house. I don't have money to hire cleaners to clean up the house. I don't have money to repair defects when it happens, change light bulb. These are the problems I think a lot of current buyers didn't think of. And I'm surprised our bank thinks of it. I think they do, because then they make getting a loan really difficult nowadays.
Yeah, but banks are trying to make taking the loan is easier for certain people lah.
Yeah, they are like, it's like half.
Yeah,
some easy, some not.
Yeah.
But the common criteria I think we both notice is recently a lot of our generation, Gen Y and Gen Z, the reason why I think you feel that they are not mature buyers is they don't have enough money in their bank to probably even make a down payment for the property, let alone the rest of the payment for the property. But they can qualify for the loan, and they are probably having monthly income of 20,000-30,000 a month.
Yeah, because I actually I have a client which have higher income than normal young people lah.
Oh, wow.
Which is more than 10,000 a month, but he still cannot buy a property because of his debt. Because when he got an income more than 10,000, of course he's not buying Pro2, and he's not he always think about Audi, he always think about BMW.
Yeah, I mean, because he's thinking like, I have a $10,000 income, $20,000 income.
Yeah.
I shouldn't buy that kind of thing. I need to buy something more atas.
Yeah, right. Like whenever I talk about cars with him, he always don't want to talk about the financial aspect of the car.
Yeah.
He always talk about the
The
character,
fee, the experience that you get. I think that's the same problem that comes to people who buy property. Like,
They have the wrong financial planning, is it?
Yeah, not just the wrong financial planning, but the same like mentality when they buy a car. Just because I have a higher salary, or just because I got a promotion, then I shouldn't be buying a Pro2, or I shouldn't be buying a local car. I should suddenly upgrade my way all the way to a BMW.
Yeah.
But whether I can afford that BMW and still have my current lifestyle is two completely different things.
Yes.
Or I might even be able to have my lifestyle and have the BMW, but my whole financial planning is screwed. Like, I don't have savings, I
Yeah.
don't have my bank account is empty, and all that kind of problem just come in.
Okay, what do you think the common financial mistakes or common financial planning that the young people did that is actually makes them a lot harder to buy property? Like, other than having less savings or having higher loan for higher purchases, other than that, what are the mistakes that they usually do?
I think not filing tax is one of the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like, in this modern age, there are a lot of people who are doing freelancing or opening your own business, social media influencers, and you make a lot of money on that. And then you don't declare your tax. Like, I've been there as well. I did that part out also. I've been there, I understand how you feel. But by not paying your taxes, you actually you get government authorities eyeing at you now, because you potentially are evading tax, escaping the law. And at the same time, legal lenders like banks, they are not going to approve your loan because you don't have any tax records for them to follow.
Yeah, because my friend, he has a lot of businesses. He has cafes, he has several cool block franchises, But then, and then he thought, okay, my income are already more than 10,000, so for another property I can buy lah. And then when he go to the bank,
The bank
the
doesn't
bank
like
reject.
it.
Yeah, just because he don't file his tax.
Yes, correct. And I think the other mistake that, this is just for qualifying for loan, the other mistake that a lot of youngsters make is not paying EPF. Yeah, EPF is actually a very good tool to qualify for a loan.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the biggest shit mistake that a lot of youngsters make. Oh, okay. Okay, can I
You wanna? Okay.
the biggest mistake that a lot of youngsters make is not spending within your means, as your expenses goes way beyond your current salary. The most common reason for loan rejection is debt servicing ratio having burst.
Yeah. Usually the DSR, when the DSR bursts, most of the young people don't know that what is DSR.
Yeah. They don't think that the bank is going to check that, oh, you have already accumulated so much debt, so I'm not gonna lend you anything. And it's not just how much your spending is. They're also gonna look at how you use your credit card. They're gonna look at how you pay off your car loans, your student housing, your student loans like PTPTN.
So we are going to end our session. So before we end our session,
You end our part one.
we'll end our part one. So what are the financial tips that that you can give to the young people so that they can become a matured buyers?
Plan ahead. Plan ahead as long as possible, and don't just plan 5 years and 6 years. Plan like 10, 20 years on how you want to hold your property.
Yeah.
When you can plan that, then you will be financially mature enough to hold a property. Don't just think that, oh, I buy this property now and then 10 years later I can sell it. In fact, don't even think you can sell the property. You should be thinking on whether you can pass this property to your child. And
Play the long-term game lah.
Yes, correct. Because it's not like Malaysia's laws are on the side of helping you sell the property. RPGT is not low,
Yeah.
and the cost of selling property is also quite high.
Yeah. Just like my neighbours, he tried to sell his property. It's just opposite to my house. At that, the first time he buy the house is like 200k.
Yeah.
And then the house, the current market value of the house is 1 million and above lah. But still 10 years, more than 10 years, he cannot sell his property. Yeah, the property, you know the banner that say for sale, more than 10 years. I don't know why, I don't know how, but quite a long time.
And even if he does sell, that's 5% RPGT he have to prepare to pay into tax. 3% agent fee he need to prepare.
Yeah.
1 to 2% of legal fees he needs to prepare.
But if you are brilliant enough, you can waive your RPGT. That's a tips lah for part 2.
Yes.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I don't know the